The climate on the Breen home planet is quite comfortable. He who studies evil is studied by evil, and nobody touches Captain Sisko's peppers. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Sirach Lofton.
What's up? What's up?
We're going to have a lot of pepper talk today. Today we're doing a review, my name's Ryan T. Husk, of Deep Space Nine Season 7, Episode 20, The Changing Face of Evil. Written by Ira Stephen Bear and Hans Beimler, of course, directed by, we just talked about him recently, Michael Vehar. This was April 28th, 1999. Where were you? And of course, it is a Nog episode. Melissa Longo is here.
Hiya! How's it going?
Yay.
Pretty good greeting. All right. So where do you guys want to start? You want to start with peppers? You want to start with the change? I kept calling it changing the face of evil, but it's the changing face. It's very confusing.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was something else too, but it's the changing face of evil, right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to start with the peppers, man. Nobody touches my peppers, you know.
Oh my
Don't
gosh.
touch the black man's pepper.
When she lifted up the pepper, and it was
Never
a
touch a
super
black man's
drooper.
pepper.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What was that? It looked like an Anaheim pepper, maybe, right?
I don't know what
I
it
don't
looked
know, but
like.
It looked overcooked and not tasty.
And, yeah.
It still looked good
Yeah.
to me, kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe in a jambalaya type way, but I don't know if she was making jambalaya. You don't put peppers in there like that.
I like the way he said, "You don't cook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't cook. What are you doing?"
Actually, maybe we're skipping ahead here, but there was a line that Sisko delivered that I thought was one of his best deliveries I've seen, because it every once in a while somebody says something, a character says something where it almost feels like they're not acting anymore, where it's just like so natural. You're like, I'm actually watching Avery Brooks say this. I don't know who he's saying it to in his mind, but he said this before or something. And that line was, it was when he was fighting with Cassidy in Odo's office, and she was saying, "How would you like it if I called Starfleet, headquarters?" And he goes, "Look, that's not the same thing." And I don't know why, but the way he said it, I'm like, he has said this in his real life before, because the way he said it was so unbelievably natural and charming and fun. I had to watch it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I had to think if it was the same thing. And it is the same thing.
Well, I think that's what makes the line funny. Yeah, he's like, whoa, that's not the same thing, honey. Let's move on.
Yeah,
Well, it is the same thing. And it got proven that it was the same thing when Admiral Ross comes in and says, you have to go to the Chakotay's.
Commander Chintakas section.
Chintakas, yeah. Yes. But no, I thought you were talking about a different line in that scene that I liked. I thought Avery gave a great line when he was making up with Cassidy, and he brought the flowers, and he's admitting that he's wrong, and he's like, "Yeah,
smart move."
He's like, I won't do anything, and until you tell me to, unless it's absolutely necessary." Right? And then he tried to squeeze that little extra caveat in there.
Yeah, and you even had the dramatic pause perfect to yourself, by the way.
And I love the extra caveat. I love that he smiled when she's like, she busts him on it really quickly, and he gives a really, I was just trying to real quick. It was a good relationship moment, and there were a lot of really good moments between Cassidy and Sisko in this one. I especially liked when Quark tells Odo, that could be you and Kira and they're arguing about nothing, that important really, but just,
I know, I love that line.
Marriage, it changes everything. That's his his reference, and I thought that was a great moment too in this episode.
I really like that the writers mix that kind of stuff in, because having 9 episodes straight of like a giant war or something, kind of like the first 6 episodes of season 6, I think it was like a big arc. You also want those personal stories, you know what I mean? Like the marriage or the relationship fight or the freaking models with Julian and Chief O'Brien building their little toy set.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff is so charming. Yeah, it's adorable, and it raises the stakes for me personally. You know, it makes it seem more like real. Like these are just real people with hopes and dreams and lives. They're not just out there fighting all the time. They want to live their lives and play with toys, get married, buy flowers, or eat flowers if you're Worf. I don't know.
Right. There's more to life than more to the life of a warrior than their time on the battlefield. That the time on the battlefield is just a small part of what makes them a warrior in life. It really.
I mean, it's also indicative and kind of reflective of how we all have to live our lives. Like we turn into the headlines and we hear about nuclear wars and this and that and all these.
Yeah.
We hear about these things, and they're part of our lives, kind of, you know, in a tangent kind of way, but not directly, you know, but indirectly part of our lives in our ecosystem of information and what we see.
Totally.
And we have to kind of compartmentalize that too as well, and still do the ABCs of, you know, eating and showering and going to work and whatever our daily lives are like, you know, being with our loved ones. So I think that's where Deep Space Nine captures a lot of that too. Even though there's this war, even though all of these things are happening in this intergalactic, you know, way, there's still the moments with your wife. There's still the arguments with your girlfriend, or the feeling of loneliness, or the feeling of falling in love, or just regular things that we all deal with. So I think they capture that very well.
Yeah, totally. It's like, even like you were saying, even today, we're like, oh, wait, so you're saying it's absolutely possible and more likely than ever that we might actually get into a nuclear war and all die and burn and
Right.
Well, so what do you want for dinner? I don't know, I guess you still got to figure out, what's for dinner, right? We still got to go, oh, we're out of toilet paper. Can you pick that up? I get, we're still going, right?
We're still going. Yeah.
Went to the bathroom. Yeah. It's interesting because, in the opening, when they said, when we find out that the Breen have attacked Earth, and then they show, you know, San Francisco in ruins, and Sisko says, I had a lot of friends in those buildings, which brought back 9/11 to me. But this was before 9/11. So how, the writers must have some kind of crystal ball or some sort of thing, because, you know, these nuclear bombs or these 9/11s where catastrophe happens are probably a way of life forever, unfortunately, but we have to keep going.
Yeah, I also had, like, as I'm watching this episode, I felt a little bit, because they mentioned the Alamo, so obviously there's a lot of the Alamo in the undertone of what they write. You know,
it means Ira wrote this episode, no doubt about it. The Alamo's in it.
Right, but I also feel that they are borrowing a little bit of the historical facts from World War II. And in the same way, like Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese kind of unexpectedly, I think they used the Breen to be the Pearl Harbor moment for Earth in this war, in this conflict. And I also think that the pivot or the turn of DeMar going from being a part of them to switching sides is also indicative of Russia's involvement in World War II as well, and how they were kind of in alignment with the German forces at one point, and then decided to switch course on that and flip the switch. So I think those are some of the things that I'm reminded of when I'm watching these episodes.
Very astute. Melissa, I don't know if you can top that, but I can't.
Well, I wasn't sure I could top
All
it.
I was thinking about was I was just reminded I took this history of Russia class in college back in the day, which was fascinating, history of Russia and the USSR. And I remember that, you were kind of bringing me back to that, Sirach, and how I believe what was the actual downfall of Germany trying to take over Russia there was the giant winter and just the impossibility of going through that snow and the ice and the cold winter, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's really interesting, and the Pearl Harbor aspect too. Yeah, totally. This is probably the inspiration for this attack, since it was before 9/11.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I just thought it was kind of eerie how much it paralleled, and how many times I've heard people say since 9/11, I had friends in those buildings.
Yes,
I had friends in those buildings. I had friends in those buildings, and friends, family members, all in those buildings. And I was like, whoa, they took out their crystal ball and wrote the future,
so to speak.
So to speak. Yeah.
Morn pulled out his crystal ball in this episode and figured out when they would be back almost to the hour.
Yes.
I kind of enjoyed that light moment of levity in the beginning.
Yeah.
The little Morn Nam. But then it got right back into business with seriousness, right? So they started with a little bit levity. Hey, welcome back. And then it went right into it's getting real really fast.
Was that the only Nam today? Was Morn at the beginning? I think it was.
That I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you want to say Goldu Cat. He's not exactly looking like Goldu Cat.
Right, because right now he's Angel Tanan, but the DNA is still Goldu Cat.
Yeah.
As Solbor found out, discovered.
Yeah, Solbor. We hardly knew ye. Were we? But before we go on to Solbor, were we done talking about peppers? Because I didn't get. I couldn't help but I changed the subject, but I was actually secretly curious what your favorite peppers are.
I'm old school. I just like bell peppers.
Okay.
Yeah. Simple.
Lisa made a face when you said that. She's like, this guy has no idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what my favorite peppers are. I don't know. I like spicy stuff, but bell peppers I had to acquire a taste for, so they're not my favorite. I don't dislike them, but I don't really love them either.
Ditto. I like the hot, but I've grown a ton of. Well, I guess we could talk about this on another time. But I've grown a ton of peppers in my backyard, and they are shockingly good when you grow. Like, it's such a difference when you're growing it yourself. Than peppers that I never thought I would even like. You grow them, and they're just sweet and juicy and delicious. Anyway, we'll talk about
Peter
that.
Piper picked the pickled peppers.
That's right.
I really
That's
like the yellow.
Flavor.
The yellow spicy, tart, tangy
banana
ones.
Peppers.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My mom eats the green jalapeno peppers.
Yep, I've grown jalapenos, habaneros, serranos. Yeah, you could grab a serrano pepper, those little, and eat the whole thing. Whew, make your eyes water.
And poblano. I love poblano too.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Sorry.
No, but I did. I mean, it was a good moment. You know, he came in there. She was trying to do some good stuff. You know, I actually was surprised she took it that well because if I'm trying to cook you a dinner, I don't care if I can't cook. You're supposed to just kind of be grateful that somebody's
Pretend like
trying
it's
to cook
good.
for you. Yeah, or you gotta at least be grateful for the gesture, for the idea. It's like, hey, I seen you've been stressed out lately, and
Right.
there's got to be some acknowledgement for that. It can't be like, this is garbage. What the hell is going on up in here? If you do all that, I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, it's your birthday. I was trying to cook for you. I mean, I know I suck, but goddamn, you can't just go and turn it over the pots and stuff. You got to at least pretend you like it when you take that first bite. Like,
Oh my
good, yeah,
gosh.
very good.
Thank you, very
Yeah,
good. I never thought that mayonnaise could be so good in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Very good. Thank you so much.
Isn't that like
Ew.
common courtesy in a relationship? You can't just walk in there and your significant other has got a candle lights going on the table, and you're like, "What the hell do I smell in the kitchen? Is you cooking?
Are
Did you
you
forget
kidding?
to flush?
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? No,
But
Aaron. If I had made a meal like Cassidy, Aaron would have let me know
Right away, huh?
There was
Right
also
away.
a lid, a pot lid on the floor that was burning on the floor because when Sisko tried to pick it up, I was like, that was some good slapstick acting there, Captain Sisko. I haven't seen that in some time. Like, so there's a pot lid that's burning on the floor, probably making a hole, and it's going to land in Rom's quarters or something above, from above. So yeah, I mean, it was smoky, but that doesn't mean it couldn't taste delicious. It might, he hasn't tasted it yet. You never know.
Well, some people do like the taste of burnt. So
I don't know. He walked in like if you saw your kid playing with a bunch of kitchen ingredients and they're like a 6-year-old trying to mess around with flour. Like you walk in the kitchen like, why are you cracking all these eggs and flours everywhere? That was kind of the way he reacted. Like, she is a grown woman. She might not be the best cook.
right.
He was really mad about the bell peppers because he did take 3 months to grow them. So that made a little bit of sense. But
Yeah.
other than that, I thought it was kind of a bigger reaction than necessary. Somebody's trying to do something good for you. Because my cousin did this recently, and his now wife, was cooking for him for his birthday, and he got in a big argument. He said, "I already ate."
Just say thanks, dude.
Yeah, just say,
Whoa.
and she got very
upset.
upset.
That's not cool.
She got upset,
cool.
stormed out of the house, and he calls me and he says, "What? Am I tripping?" I'm like, "Yes, you're tripping."
Yeah, go eat.
She's trying to cook you a birthday dinner. She bought you a gift, and you don't want to eat, and you complained about the gift. I said, "That's kind of your fault, and you better go apologize for that," which he did. But sometimes you're in the wrong with certain things. I can understand him say, "Oh, what are you doing? No, 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 those are bell peppers." Oh, but I cook around here. You don't cook, I cook.
Yeah. And I think I remember him saying something to the effect of in previous episodes, like, don't mess with my kitchen. This is my
right.
spot. But I don't remember. But I don't remember Cassidy ever giving him anything like that, like saying, "Okay, fine, but then the living room's mine." Right? No.
Well, Jake's figured it out because you never seen Jake cooking, so Jake already knows. He's already gotten the talk.
He hangs out in his room, and then when he comes out when it smells good, he goes, "Oh, it smells good. All right, time to eat."
Yeah.
He did get a hand smack once because he was trying to get into the. Yeah, he's like,
I do the taste
my
testing.
Kitchen. Yeah,
I do taste testing. I don't do cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's very sensitive about that, but it also shows that there's a lot of things like on people's minds, right? There's so much stress on his mind. He sees it's not really about the cooking; it's more about the stress that is on his mind, and that's what she also recognized is why she tried to do it in the first place. It's just kind of a sign that there's a lot of stuff going on, and everybody's kind of on edge. Sisko's clearly worried about Cassidy. He wants to get her on a 30-day vacation, and he doesn't want her being kind of getting caught up in the middle of some kind of crazy, situation. So everybody's concerned about everybody else. And I think that's what really we're trying to highlight more than anything.
Yeah, and I was thinking too, by the way, that for those of you just listening in, the people in my background, I've got Kai Wynn and the star of the show, Gul Dukat and Joel Tanan. And I was thinking, Ducat's got to be the one that cooks in that relationship. I don't think Kai Wynn, I don't even think she ties her own shoes, right? And I could see Ducat being like the nurturing cook type. Oh, Adami, I've prepared your favorite rectagino soup with grilled tar, or whatever he does. And then he slips a little bit of poison or whatever he does in there to get her to forget he's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and that has worked for him to win over a lot of people.
How about when he told Solbor? Exactly. Solbor walks in, he's like, I'll take my breakfast out in the patio in the balcony. Solbor's like, I fucking hate you, man.
Well, it's funny because he went from, in the beginning when we saw him arrive at Kai Wynn's residence, he came and said, a simple farmer like me doesn't deserve to sit at a table and be served. So he came at this really like, I'm a nobody, and I'll eat out of the doggy bowl on the side. Don't worry about me. And now he's like giving orders like, I'll take it on the balcony with a glass of mimosa.
Yeah. And he doesn't even like ask or wait to be asked. He just like,
or even address you face to face.
Right.
He talks as he's walking, like with his back to you, you know, like you're writing you off. He doesn't even address you as a human being.
Wynn does that too. Kai Wynn does that too.
Oh, the most.
She almost
does it to him
better than him. Yeah. I don't know if it's better than him because he obviously isn't allowing it, but she is as good at dismissing somebody and making them feel completely irrelevant and stupid for even being around. Like there was a moment where she says to him, like, what are you still doing here? When she said that to
that's what I was gonna say, is she still has her moments of checking him. Like Ducat keeps getting bigger than his britches, just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then every once in a while she snaps him back a little bit, but he takes 3 steps forward and she knocks him 1 step back and then 3 more steps forward. Interesting dynamic
his is
there.
Definitely his is a calculated game, and hers is more reactive and I'm not fearful. Don't tell me I'm scared.
Yep. and then she says to him, why are you still here? And he's like, oh, but and she says, go away. And like
she had a couple good lines,
the way she said it, I was like, oh gosh, that's like she really just made him feel stupid for even being there. Like, go away, like, get out of here.
It's not just in the line, but also her delivery is so good. Like, she's not like, go away. She's like her delivery is like, what do you
like? You haven't figured out that you gotta
what
go
are you,
away?
an idiot?
Like,
go away. Get out of here. Hey, we got to take our break, so we're going to go away in just a second here, and then we'll talk more about how great Kai Wynn is and how obviously Gul Dukat is the star of the show, Deep Space Dukat. We'll be right back on The Seventh Rule.